What is going on, everyone, and welcome back again. We bring you all the latest Manchester United transfer news updates and everything around Old Trafford. The summer window is not even open yet and things are already moving at a serious pace at Old Trafford. There is a lot to get through today, so let's get straight into it. First, and this is big news that not enough people are talking about, Manchester United have just revealed a massive financial boost ahead of the summer transfer window. The club published their third quarter financial results this week, and the numbers are encouraging. United have made repayments totaling £110 million on their revolving credit facility over the last 6 weeks alone. 3 separate payments: £50 million on April 22nd, £20 million on May 18th, and £40 million on May 27th. That leaves United with £250 million available on that credit facility as the window opens on June 15th. In simple terms, the money is there. United mean business this summer. Now, on to the signings, because the first one is very, very close. Manchester United are closing in on making Atalanta midfielder Ederson their first signing of the summer transfer window. Talks are ongoing for a deal worth around £38 million for the Brazilian international, and things are progressing well. Ederson has been on United's radar for some time, and it now looks like this one is going to get done. He is not being brought in as a direct replacement for Casemiro. The club's ambitions in midfield go well beyond one signing, but he adds quality and depth to a position United desperately need to strengthen. Speaking of Casemiro's replacement, Aurelien Tchouameni of Real Madrid is seen as the dream signing to fill that void. The Frenchman is an elite defensive midfielder at one of the biggest clubs in the world. Whether United can actually make that one happen remains to be seen, but that is the level of ambition being shown here. Also still very much in the conversation, Sandro Tonali. United are continuing to monitor the Newcastle United midfielder, and the links simply will not go away. There was a report earlier this week claiming United flew officials out to Italy partly to hold conversations with Tonali's representatives. So while nothing is done there, the interest is clearly genuine and ongoing. Then there is Elliot Anderson. The Nottingham Forest midfielder sits at the top of United's midfield shortlist. However, there is a significant complication. Manchester City are thought to be in pole position for his signature. Forest are also understood to be demanding around £100 million for him, which is a serious chunk of money. United will have to decide whether to fight for Anderson or redirect those funds elsewhere, potentially towards Tonali. Carlos Baleba of Brighton is another name United have been tracking, but that one has cooled significantly. Brighton were asking for around £100 million for the Cameroon international last summer, and with Baleba having been in and out of the Brighton side this past season, his stock has fallen. The two clubs are said to be far apart on a fee, and United's interest has apparently dwindled as a result. Now, let's talk about Marcus Rashford, because there has been a brutal development on that front today. Rashford is currently out of Barcelona's plans. That is, according to Catalan radio station RAC1, who are reporting that Anthony Gordon's imminent arrival at the Camp Nou effectively rules out Rashford staying in Spain. Gordon is set to become a Barcelona player today in a deal worth £70 million from Newcastle. And with that attacking position now set to be filled, the door looks to be closing on Rashford's time in Catalonia. And there are several layers of complication here. The BBC are reporting that sources believe United being able to sell Rashford elsewhere for a significantly higher fee is unrealistic. On top of that, Rashford himself would reportedly not necessarily be willing to join a different club. And to make things even more complicated, United are said to be completely unwilling to renegotiate their terms with Barcelona, despite the Catalan club reportedly being keen to do exactly that. So where does that leave Rashford? In a very uncertain position. Barcelona appear to be moving on, United won't budge on terms. And the clock is ticking towards that June 15th deadline. This one is going to get messy before it gets resolved. Elsewhere, an interesting suggestion from a United legend. Rio Ferdinand has come out and said that Robert Lewandowski would be a sensible signing for Manchester United. Ferdinand argued that Lewandowski, despite potentially commanding significant wages, would be a wonderful mentor for a young striker like Sesko, helping him develop and learn the game at the highest level. Ferdinand acknowledged the salary figures could be, in his own words, crazy, but said the move would make sense if United are serious about Sesko being their striker of the future. So to bring it all together, United have £250 million available on their credit facility. Ederson is close. Tonali and Anderson are both in the mix. Tchouameni is the dream. Rashford's future is genuinely up in the air, and Lewandowski has been thrown into the conversation as a potential striker option. This summer is going to be one to watch at Old Trafford. Make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss a single update as the window opens on June 15th. Smash that like button if you enjoyed this and drop your thoughts in the comments. Which midfielders do you want United to sign? And what should happen with Rashford? In other news. Meanwhile, Adam Wharton is another name that has come up in connection with United's midfield rebuild. However, the club reportedly view him as too similar to Kobbie Mainoo, and in their preferred 4-2-3-1 system under Carrick, Wharton is not seen as a natural partner for the young Englishman. United could still move for him if they decide to sign 3 midfielders rather than 2 this summer, so don't completely rule it out. But right now, he's not the priority. And finally, what is happening with Marcus Rashford? The United forward has been on loan at Barcelona and by all accounts has had an outstanding spell in Spain. Barcelona hold a £26 million option to sign him permanently, but here's the twist. They are keen to bring in another striker as well, and Hansi Flick's squad would actually prefer another loan deal for Rashford, giving them the financial flexibility to pursue a second forward. Anthony Gordon joining Barcelona would further complicate the picture. What makes it even more interesting? Both Arsenal and Tottenham have reportedly held talks over a potential move for Rashford. So if Barcelona don't exercise that option, and it is looking like they might not, there could be a very interesting transfer saga playing out around one of United's own players. It is going to be one busy summer at Old Trafford. That is all the latest for now. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss a single update as the window opens up. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you want Tonali? Is Ederson the right signing? And what should United do with Rashford? I'll see you in the next one. There is also the name of Matheus Fernandes being mentioned, with United monitoring his situation at West Ham very carefully. West Ham have been relegated to the Championship, which means Fernandes is virtually certain to leave the club this summer. The Daily Mail are reporting that West Ham want around £80 million for him, double what they paid Southampton for him just 12 months ago. Now their relegation has slightly weakened their negotiating position, which could bring that price down. But £80 million is still a significant outlay, and the question is whether United would look to bring in Ederson, a marquee signing like Anderson, and then Fernandes on top of that. It would be an extraordinary midfield rebuild in a single window, but nothing appears to be off the table right now. And what about the dream signing? Because there is one name being whispered around Old Trafford that has everyone buzzing. Aurelien Tchouameni of Real Madrid. The Frenchman is regarded as one of the best central midfielders in the world, and United see him as the perfect marquee successor to Casemiro. The problem? Real Madrid are expected to keep him for Jose Mourinho's first season back at the Bernabeu. Yes, you heard that right. Jose Mourinho is returning to Real Madrid, and Tchouameni is expected to be central to his plans. So while United are dreaming of landing him, the realistic assessment at Old Trafford is that it would take something extraordinary to prize him away from the Bernabeu this summer. Never say never in football, but that one looks very difficult. Now let's talk about the exits, because to fund this level of transfer activity, United need to move players on, and Carrick's side have a plan for that too. Manuel Ugarte is expected to leave this summer. Reports suggest United are looking to sell him before his value deteriorates further, and Galatasaray are mentioned as one of the leading candidates for his signature. The story around Ugarte's arrival at United has not been a happy one. Sources in Paris were apparently surprised that United paid £50 million for a midfielder who was so far down the pecking order at PSG, and there have been well-documented difficulties with his ball-playing ability since arriving in England. A move away this summer looks likely, and frankly, the fee they can recoup for him needs to go straight back into strengthening the squad. Andre Onana is also reportedly set to leave Old Trafford. The goalkeeper has had a mixed time at United since arriving from Inter Milan, and it sounds like the club are ready to move on. Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho are also departing, as is Joshua Zirkzee, who arrived with so much promise but has struggled to establish himself consistently. And of course, Rasmus Højlund has already left, having joined Napoli on a loan deal last season that became permanent after Antonio Conte's side qualified for the Champions League. A lot of faces are leaving, which means a lot of wage budget and transfer funds are being freed up for Carrick to reinvest. Now let's move away from midfield for a moment, because there are other areas of the squad that need addressing too, and Carrick is clearly thinking about this holistically. On the left wing, with Rashford and Sancho both leaving, there is a clear gap. United were apparently interested in signing Antoine Semenyo in January before he ended up joining Manchester City, which is a frustrating one in hindsight. RB Leipzig winger Jan Diomande is on the radar, but a fee of around £85 million has been mentioned by sources in Germany, and that is simply not realistic for United in a summer where a marquee midfield signing is the priority. The more likely solution, at least in the short term, might be Patrick Dorg. The young fullback has been deployed on the left wing this season and was actually brilliant there before picking up an injury in January. He was excellent again on the left flank in his first start back from that injury at the weekend, and Carrick is apparently considering whether that should become his permanent position going forward. It would be an intriguing solution that solves two problems at once: the left wing and the left back positions. Because left back is also a need. Luke Shaw has played every Premier League game this season, but United played their fewest matches in a campaign for over 100 years. And with a full Champions League season ahead of them next year, they need depth in that position. The player who has caught United's attention is Lewis Hall at Newcastle United. The young England defender is highly rated, admired at Old Trafford, and has been impressive for the Magpies. The challenge is that Newcastle will demand a significant fee and will be very reluctant to sell a young talent to a direct Premier League rival. Hall is contracted until 2029, so Newcastle hold all the power in that negotiation.